Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap BJJ Stars 18 Peaky Blinders edition, and we are also going to recap the 2025 IBJJF Crown. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, with the co-host,
Miranda.
Hey, Miranda.
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Happy to be back in the studio. Happy to be back not doing the show alone. That was a trip. For the first time.
It happens.
It's happened one time. And since 2017, we've had a host every time. And it was just like me. I was like, no one's here. No one's coming. Got to get the show out. So It was a unique experience. But I'm very happy to be back here with you. We had a nice little pre-show. Talked about matches. I missed a couple of the Crown matches. So we had to go back and find those. Because I only watched 4 of the 6 because I just was piecemealing like the finals matches again. I just missed it. So we've now watched all the Crown matches.
And the thing is with the Crown is this was more brackets than they normally have. Like they
that's
normally
what threw me
run
off.
a few, but they normally don't run like 6 like they did this time.
It's
around.
very rare. We have 4 men's divisions and 2 women's divisions.
You won $200,000 if you won first place in these divisions.
Finally, they're finally paying out.
Yeah,
which is good. Usually $50,000, but $200,000 is phenomenal.
It said per winner, but then it scares me that that's like total. But I don't think so.
Neither would surprise me with IBJJF. Like they have the money to do that, but neither would surprise me.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start with Crown or start BJJ Stars? Crown had better matches, but Stars will be quicker to run through.
Yeah, let's just start BJJ Stars. It's in front of our face right now.
BJJ Stars. So BJJ Stars 18 happened. I love BJJ
Did I say
Stars.
BJJ Stars and stare at IBJJF
you
when
did,
I said that?
And you did, and I switched through.
Yeah, good times.
That's where we're at right now, Miranda.
That's where we're at, yep.
So this BJJ Stars was interesting for a couple of reasons. Usually these events are a lot of fun. This one, the matchmaking for the main card just genuinely left some stuff to be desired. We are going to run through this pretty quickly because...
But positives of the thing.
Yep.
Their scoreboard on the screen was not an inch big.
It worked. It's been fixed for the last couple events, but this one, it was good. The Crown for the Kolabate match, there was some problems with that, but yeah.
But that was easy, and...
it was good. It was easy.
I watched the Portuguese version.
I did. I said I was going to do it. I watched the English.
Yeah.
The Portuguese one is fun.
It is fun. But they didn't do all like the crazy shit like they normally do.
They've stopped. The last couple of them, they haven't done all like the crazy walkouts and music.
Yeah,
It's been a little bit more like a regular event, and I'm kind of disappointed because that's...
Me too.
I liked the wild shit.
I do too. That's, I think, why we also like one championship, because they do the wild shit.
Yeah, Ty Rotolo has picked up another win this weekend. He's now 2-0 as a pro.
I think Gabe Stevenson also won.
Also knocked out a dude. He knocked out a dude during a double. Like, he knocked him out, and then when he was falling, dropped for double. I went, that was absolutely absurd for a guy at your size to knock a guy out, and then while he is falling, drop for a double, and then finish and turn a double, and then be able to hit him before the ref gets to you. If he has a chin, man, he is going to be a problem for a lot of heavyweights. And so, real curious how that goes. So, no other news this week. Nothing else is going on. Next week, we are going to do a preview for ADCC Asian and Oceanic Trials, which I am jazzed for. The first Asian and Oceanic Trials for that region.
And
we are
also
going to do Who's Number One, which has some fun matches.
Yeah.
31. I think that is main evented by, is it Penna versus, it's a rematch.
It's Penna versus, I just looked at it.
Is it
Luke Griffith?
Luke Griffith.
Yeah.
The rematch. I'm super jazzed to break that one down. So that'll be next week's show. Let's kick it into BJJ Stars 18. Main event, Pedro Marinho defeats Roosevelt Sousa. This is open weight.
I think there's like a 60-pound difference between the two of them.
Yeah,
like
Roosevelt Sousa is bigger, but is going to play guard here most of the time. This was, go back and watch Pedro Marinho versus Giancarlo Bodoni when Pedro Marinho wins either the 205 belt for Who's Number One or the open weight belt. I forget. It was right around when Gordon retired.
I think it's the 205
I think it was the 205-pound belt for that matchup. Initially, the wrestling is good. Marinho has good wrestling, and then he forces Bodoni into this open range at mid-range long guard.
Yeah.
And it's basically a range where, because Pedro Marinho's guillotine is so good, you can't wrestle him up.
Stop. Did you guys cover the one championship match of Lovato beating Giancarlo Bodoni like 2 weeks ago?
No.
He beat him like 2 weeks ago. We'll have to cover that another time.
Probably do that next week.
Yeah.
We'll recap it.
Yeah. I only know it happened because they didn't really advertise it very well.
Yeah,
but,
they advertised it terribly. I didn't.
But yeah.
I completely forgot we didn't cover that.
Somebody was like, "Hey, Lovato won." And I was like, "Nah."
That's crazy.
Yeah, he beat.
Again, Giancarlo is a different dude come ADCC and World. Like he peaks and is a different kind of guy. The Marinho match versus Roosevelt is basically it's a rematch. It's the same match that he had versus Giancarlo when he beat Giancarlo.
Yeah.
That Giancarlo can't wrestle up in that position. Roosevelt Sousa really can't get a guard going because Marinho plays at this far out range. Marinho is active enough to avoid getting a lot of stalling called on him, but not close enough to your guard for you to really start playing a guard.
Yeah.
You can't sit up on him because he's got a good guillotine. And Mourinho's not really looking to pass. And because you can't really get a guard together, he looks like the more active guy. And he wins. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you have any other notes on that? We can move on. That's it. That's
in my opinion, no one wins that match.
Yeah, Miranda's big and bold notes
No
here.
winner.
No winner in my eyes. Main event. Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's sort of a Roosevelt Sousa match from probably 5 or 6 years ago. He played a more passive game, and we really kind of complimented him for the increase in pace and like activity in his recent like world championship runs and other runs. Mourinho's a frustrating guy to play against. I really can't like take it away from Mourinho. It's a winning strategy. He uses it to win. It's just not super exciting because he's winning by nullifying the game and being more active in front of you and having good tools that you have to respect versus actually having to use those tools and win. Yeah. So he is a neat edge case. But man, you gotta be really careful who you match him up against, or I'm gonna be really bored. And I was bored here. Next one, we have Vagner Rocha defeating Sergio Moraes via penalty. This was. I'm gonna read your note. I love Vagner. Vagner's my favorite dudes. Okay. Watched him at trials. Watched his coach Achilles, his son, who won trials. Wagner's my wife's favorite grappler to watch.
And I do like watching him.
I love Wagner's one of my favorite guys. Normally, if guys argue about position when they're getting reset, it annoys me. Wagner does it in a way that I actually kind of appreciate because
he giggles as he does it.
Also, he is the refereeing edge case. When ADCC does rules meetings, I talked about it last week on the show. They talk about if you can't reset these guys at opens, how are you going to reset Wagner at Worlds? Yeah. Because Wagner is just like the guy that will fight you at everything. He'll do what you say, and then he'll move his hands. He just will make you as a referee earn your money. Yeah. And it is frustrating. Here it got a little egregious. Basically, Miranda's biggest note is pushy old guys and a lot of arguments over resets. Yes. There was a point, it's got to be 2.5 minutes.
They were just like pushing each other off the mat, pushing each other off the mat, pushing each other off the mat. And it was just back and forth, but no one was really doing anything. They were just pushing each other off the mat.
Wagner's, I think, generally doing more. And when he gets on top of the guard, he's doing a little more. But overall, not a lot of activity. And at least 2.5 minutes of solid, like one of the longest resets I have ever seen where the referee doesn't just start penalizing guys, which is normally what happens.
Well, no, he does start. That's where the penalties start, I believe.
Oh, okay, that's why.
Because they get like,
I just kept tabbing through.
I think Sergio had 2 and Wagner had 1, but I think they each got a penalty in that situation. Okay, but there's multiple penalties during this match.
This match is defined by penalties. It's a win for Wagner on penalties. Again, he wins, but that was the main flavor of the match. It was a refereeing exercise, more so than like a technical display from either guy.
He would get his hands put somewhere, and then the camera view showed it. He would put his hands together, and the ref was like, "No, put your hands up here."
Everyone else,
and then he would do it again, and then he would just kind of giggle, and it was like, "Dude, really?"
I think my like for Wagner, like as an analyst, overshadows. Like usually I'd be really annoyed by this, but for Wagner, I think he's the one guy that I'm like, "Hey, you gotta pass your Wagner." Everyone knows that you do this, and you're charismatic. I think the charisma. You're charismatic enough where I'm not mad at you. Dude, where everyone else is mad at you.
As a ref, I might actually like hold your hands in place.
Oh, that's what I'll do.
Your hands are here, and
hold
their hands,
and
say, 3, 2, 1, I let go.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta get inventive, but that's honestly like I did a bunch of training for in-house refs a couple of weeks ago, and it's one of the things that that I brought up in like coaching. Hey, put your hands on him when you reset him. And it was just an exercise. And it's funny to see like professional referees and then how I train like non-professional referees and like you deal with these cases. So that was the flavor of the entire match.
There were guys that would start like in like on the back of the other guy, and I would like shove my knee into the back of the one guy because he was like pulling him on top of him too much.
Yeah, you get as a referee, you got to do what you got to do. You're like leaning on a guy because he keeps moving too fast, or before you say go, and then you.
But anyway, so
that was that match.
Yeah. No points.
Penalties.
Sergio goes for a footlock at the end, and Vagner like laughs at him, which I thought was pretty hilarious.
Vagner has insane footlock defense. Go back and watch his fight to win match with JT Torres.
Yeah.
The year that the last year JT wins ADCC 2019, I think. And it might have been 2020, something like that. And it is an exercise into watching those two guys play through 50-50 and never have a footlock attempt like even stick. Vagner has amazing footlock defense. And he wins on penalties. That was the match. It was a reset. It was a reset fest. Next match, which I think was interesting. Fabricio Andrey defeats Oliver Taza. A little bit of controversy on this one. I watched this and gave this to Fabricio Andrey primarily for just the activity. Because again, it goes to the decision. There's no clear winner on points. There's no penalties. And so I was looking at Taza was on the bottom looking for the legs. Fabricio was on the top a lot of this time looking to pass, and on the feet moving more and looking to throw.
And the thing about the way Taza would do the rolling knee bars. The thing about that is if you don't have an understanding of that's what Taza's doing, it can look like Fabricio goes to throw him and his result is he rolls into the knee.
Yeah.
As opposed to Taza creates the situation
to drop into the knee as Taza does.
So then it would look like Fabricio had multiple takedown attempts in which Taza took advantage of
getting thrown
and going for the knee. Where it might have been the other way around if you look at it, that
Fabricio is trying to counter an attempt from Taza. Yeah. This is a really interesting one, and it's something we don't talk about a lot on the show, is actually when you are judging or refereeing guys that you have really, really strong understanding of how they play the game. When you get into cases like this, you have to kind of color, are you going to be a referee that understands what he's doing and gives him credit for where he is trying to push the match?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be a referee that like rewards what I am seeing actually work in the match?
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, if you think, well, obviously what he's doing in the match, if you think about it, if that guy is being aggressive for what he wants, even if he's not getting it, and the other guy's having to defend something before it's happening, it's like, well, maybe he actually should be getting rewarded for that. It becomes a really interesting refereeing and judging gray area, and you have to make some decisions for what you think. Like, am I giving Taza credit for the entry here? Or is because Fabricio is ending up on top in the sequence, it doesn't matter that Taza initiated because Fabricio ended up on top and went for a throw, even though Taza was going for a sweep. It gets into a weird subjective gray area.
I feel like, and maybe this is a bad...
let it rip.
But I feel like if you're doing an event in Brazil, maybe your footlocks don't count as much.
There's that. I mean,
because
the reality of Brazil does not like footlocks.
And maybe they do now. Maybe that's like an old.
I still don't think that has changed like entirely.
Yeah, because I could see that they wouldn't even really take the footlocks as attempts.
Mm-hmm. It's like if you were in Thailand and you're fighting a traditional Thai event for Muay Thai, and you're nailing a guy with body shots for punches, but he wins the clinch exchange with the knee.
Yeah.
He wins one more of those. They're like, oh, he obviously won. It's like, because the criteria, although he might have done more damage to you.
Yeah.
You lost the knee in the kick exchanges, which is primarily how Muay Thai traditionally is scored.
Yeah.
And so as a Western audience, you look at this, well, obviously he outboxed him. In a traditional like Thai audience, well, obviously he won because of the knees and the so it is about what you are looking for. I still think BJJ Stars is a very Brazilian event. If you are fighting a Brazilian in Brazil,
you got to sub him. or destroy him.
You have to have a really strong footlock attempt for them to even consider it. I still do think that there is some of that in there. For Oliver Taza, he will have to have an overwhelmingly strong footlock attempt for, in the eyes of those judges and those referees, for them to consider it in judging criteria. And I think there is some bias there, for better or for worse, but you got to know the event and the audience that you're fighting in. We've seen it. We see it all over the place. Sometimes you get the American the nod in, you know, an event where the wrestling heavy. Sometimes you give the European guy a nod in a European. Like it is not, we are a sport that is made up of people that are from places and sometimes have known or unknown bias. I do think generally Brazil still doesn't see footlocks as super high value submissions unless you get it. So I thought Fabricio won. There is a strong argument made that Taza should win.
That was also a wild pink outfit.
I loved the outfit.
You loved it?
I loved it.
See, I was not a fan.
Miranda, you're in, for audio listeners, Miranda is in a bright pink tie-dye hoodie, by the way. And Miranda's gym colors are bright pink and black.
Yes.
Which I dig. I'm down for it.
I don't know. If it's the flowers, I think.
I loved it. I was down for it. I love Hawaiian shirts.
He had like his fingernails painted black and everything. He was all out.
I got my toes done at ADCC.
I know. You always get your toes done.
Look, at ADCC trials, you get your toes done. My wife was doing it, and I was like, I'll get a pedicure. So it was great. I think you and I agree with Fabricio Andrey taking this. But again, I think there's a strong argument for Taza. Next one, a match I was really interested in because I trained with Owen Jones in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about this match being made. I was like, oh yeah, this match did get made. And he gave me some insight into what their thoughts were, and he was like, look, I'm going to go with leg super early and super fast. Or the sub super early, super fast.
He was super fast. Like, it was one of those matches that you watch it and you think you accidentally hit the fast forward button. But you really didn't.
But that's Owen and that's Meyram. Like, both guys push a really heavy pace. Meyram takes this on points. It was really... Owen played a very, very tight together guard, knees to chest, as Meyram sort of went outside passing. Meyram was able to get past. And
he did have a footlock on Meyram for a minute. But
again, the previous comments about Taza and Fabricio Andrey, you are fighting a Brazilian in Brazil.
But Meyram got to his back and had his back, like fully, dead to rights for a while, which is points. So.
It was great. Again, this was a really fun match. This is sort of the matchmaking that I want to see. You have two young, fast guys that are different stylistically. It's very funny. When I talked to Owen Jones, he's like, "Oh yeah, I watched a lot of Meyram's game and have like pulled pieces out of his game to incorporate." And I was like, "That's kind of cool. You're fighting a guy that you have done study on. Like that's really interesting." This was a cool match. I'd watch this match again. Overall, it was like you could see the two strategies for both guys in it, and it was a tale of two strategies, and I liked that you could clearly tell like Owen's MO was to get the sub, and was not to fight a points game. Meyram's thing was I'm going to play a traditional passing and back take game on you, and then I'm going to take my points. If a sub presents itself, I will go for it. Which is again a dynamic we haven't seen play out to this degree in a little bit. Like this is not a super common dynamic from the jump for two guys at the top level. We'll see it a lot of times. The sub guy is the guy that's usually not the better guy. And then because he only can win on sub, but it's really interesting to have a guy that is as good as Owen that like he can pass, he can wrestle, he can do all of it that goes in with the hey, I'm going to try to sub because I know that I'm in Brazil and those points may be a little slow sometimes. And so it was. I liked this match a lot. It was a match that I would be happy to see in Nogi again. We don't see Meyram a ton in Nogi, but I guess we're gonna see him at trials. Again, you beat Owen Jones.
Coming up soon enough.
You beat a European trials winner. I would absolutely bet that we see you at Brazilian Portuguese trials. Next one. Anything else on this?
Nope.
Next match we have Yatan Bueno beating Big Dan on points. I loved. On the name.
Oh, it just said Big Dan.
They have him listed as Big Dan, which is just do it that way. I love when you get the nickname.
When they announced him, like because I watched the Portuguese, they Big Dan.
Grande Dan.
They said Big Dan.
Whatever,
But it was
lean into the sport, man. Call him Crow Cop. Call him Pato. Call him Bushesha.
But Yatan made Big Dan look like normal Dan.
Dude, Yatan, and that was one of the things that they even brought up on the English commentary. They were like, yeah, man, Yatan Bueno was like 240, 260.
Yeah.
And in front of Big Dan, I was like, oh, yeah, he's like, normally Big Dan towers over guys.
Yeah.
Yatan was a big dude.
Well, and I think that might have played into this because he couldn't he didn't have the ability to kind of be as physical with him because dude is a fridge.
Yes. That was, I think, this was the most telling. Again, Big Dan's coming off an injury.
Oh, is that what it was?
He pulled out a CGI too. Remember that?
I just remember not seeing him for a while. Yes. I didn't know why we weren't.
I think it was a shoulder or a knee injury. I forget which one it was. Okay. So I was curious because this is the first time that we've seen him on a big event since he dropped out of CGI with an injury. That's why we got Vagner on CGI.
I sort of knew that.
Yeah. This was with two big takeaways. One, the wrestle ups just weren't there for Big Dan. And it reminded me of Big Dan's match with Victor Hugo.
Yeah.
Where Victor Hugo, again, is more credentialed than Yatan Bueno. But it was a very similar strategy where it's like Big Dan would throw the chips down, essentially. Yeah. A big takedown sequence or a big throw. And Victor Hugo would just be a little too far away. Yeah. A little too much. He would shuck his shoulder a little too far. Yeah. Yatan Bueno, for the two takedowns that he gets here, and then he passes at the end, that was exactly sort of how Victor Hugo, frustrated, was able to beat Big Dan in those big scrambling sequences where Dan was just sort of normally.
I was trying to remember what match that we saw, like Big Dan growl.
That was the Victor Hugo match.
That was the Victor Hugo
on Fight Pass Invitational.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what match that was as I was watching this match.
But because it was the style was very similar of like Big Dan throwing everything he can. But with a guy that big, he seemed to struggle when usually I think Big Dan is used to just like, I can out-physical anyone. Yeah. And he usually can. And it's an effective strategy when I can just be the guy that out-physicals you.
He probably doesn't have many guys of that size that can actually.
Luke's a big guy like that, but Luke's a big guy in like a different way.
It's a different way, yeah.
Yeah, they're both a King's way. Gordon's a big guy, but not nearly like, Big Dan's 300 plus. Yeah. You know, even
it said 280.
Okay, 280. But Gordon's biggest was 240. Yeah. Gordon's not I saw Gordon at ADCC. He's not 240 right now. Yeah. Luke could be that big, but different kind of stature and different kind of length.
He's lanky more. Yeah.
Yatan is a fridge. Yeah. And you saw Big Dan in the wrestle ups not be able to get into Yatan. Yatan would kind of push him down and hit him down. And then really, it looked at the end, Big Dan got tired. Yeah. And then just couldn't really keep the pace, couldn't keep the guard together.
Either that or something, or it could even be like an injury happened in that last takedown sequence. Like the Big Dan wrestled up and Yatan just threw him.
He kind of shucked him. Big Dan almost got him down. And then Yatan, Big Dan almost half pulled into it.
He kind of tried to jump his back and he just kind of went through.
Yeah, it was a weird
He slid off of his back and he just kind of went through at that point.
It was, I picked up on that last sequence as well. I went, something might have happened there because Big Dan.
His facial expression was different too. It didn't look like he was fighting anymore.
And then he sort of gets passed. Yeah. And he gets passed in a way that Yatan had not had success early. And
it was like a jump pass. He just jumped over the guard. And then it was and then he just went to mount and the match was over.
Yeah. So that's the big takeaways. We haven't seen Dan. I don't know. He's maybe still fighting the injury. This is the first match back for whatever reason. Didn't have the same cardio. Yatan picked a good strategy to beat Big Dan. I think it was good. He beats him in the scrambles. Yeah. And he was really, it looked like Yatan was faster than Big Dan. Yeah. In a lot of the places where normally Big Dan will just bowl you over. But Yatan was quick enough to never have Big Dan. There's 2 times he goes to grab Yatan and he doesn't get a grip around his body. Yeah. And I was notably, Yatan did a really good job of preventing Big Dan from ever being able to just be Big Dan. Yeah. And drag him down. Yatan was always in front, sort of making Big Dan chase him, and then was able to capitalize later in the match. Yeah. So, no big takeaways, but definitely some things I'm curious to see if Big Dan comes out, has another injury, or we learn something else about Big Dan. So, that's all I got for BJJ Stars, Miranda. Any other kind of thoughts?
No.
All right.
But I kind of like their PE blinders theory. All the refs had the little hats on.
There was,
and they all had little outfits.
The interviewer at the end. It It was odd for me.
Yeah.
I looked. The styling of it was interesting.
It was odd. It was like Newsboy, and then
that's what it looked like.
They showed what's his name, Micah Galvao, and he looked like straight out like he was 1920s. Like he literally looked at like he could have stepped out of like some newspaper like distributor back then and like fit right in. Like I don't know who dresses them, but they did a good job.
Costuming department.
Costuming was great.
So we're gonna run through. We're just gonna run through mainly the finals of the IBJJF Crown. We had a bunch of different divisions. I'm just gonna run down in order of the notes that Miranda has here because Miranda's here and we have notes. Thank God. Final match we had at featherweight. We had Cole Abate defeating João Mendes by points. This one was a little frustrating to watch because they had no scoreboard for most of the match, and then it came on, and then it was like 2 minutes of they were 0-0, and Kendall on the mic was like, although the board says this, Cole Abate is up by 2 points, and I was like, okay,
because he's had two.
That makes sense.
He had 2 sweeps, and then there's some advantages, and
there was a counter sweep.
Yeah,
go for it.
But yeah, Zhao tries a sweep, gets a sweep. Cole sweeps him. It's sweep for sweep. It's that normal like sweep for sweep match.
A featherweight match?
Yeah.
Again, Cole looked in control most of this match. One thing I liked is we saw Cole consistently. Actually, Cole and Andy Cole fought more from the top here, but he's scoring his points from the sweeps.
Yeah.
Like at featherweight in the gi, it is so hard to pass that going to the feet, getting both guys to go to the feet, pulling guard, being on the bottom. It's a little bit frustrating that is like that passing in the gi at featherweight is so difficult.
Yeah.
Because it seems like a lot of ways the only way that we see guys win at roosterweight at featherweight is by getting the last sweep.
Yeah.
And it seemed like Cole knew he was going to get another sweep. Cole seemed in control of this the majority of the match. He drops for a knee bar at one point, wrestles up, gets to the top. He seems to be the guy dictating the passing exchanges, and when they don't work, forcing João to try to like wrestle him up and then sit back down. Again, Abate looks amazing, but it is a little bit frustrating from like a game perspective that the sweep game is still 10 years later almost the only way to win at featherweight at the highest levels.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
Zhao's nickname, Bisnaga, means mama's boy.
Bisnaga.
It was on the back of his gi.
That's a good nickname.
And so I Googled it.
That's funny.
Because I know they're always something that they're always interesting one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Usually disparaging.
Yeah, they're normally disparaging, but
which mama's boy potentially could be disparaging as well. But
well, but it means like it means a bunch of different things. But when they talk about a human, that's normally what they mean.
Okay. Sweet. I want to talk about this. This was the best match of the weekend. Andy Murasaki defeats Jackson Nagai by points. This was super fun. Andy Murasaki was on. They talked about him he's been in the last 3 Crown finals at the weight.
Yep.
He won the last one. He got silver in finals. Obviously, he got silver at the previous one. Andy just looked on, man.
Where's what's it called?
Tynan?
Yeah.
No. I'm very curious
because
as well.
like Andy used to be number 2 behind.
Used to run into Tynan.
Yeah.
And then we'd all have a close match and then get beat by Tynan.
Yeah.
Have a close match and get beat by Tynan. Yeah, it was a very or Mika.
Yeah.
And he would almost beat Mika. And then,
Mika was at BJJ Stars.
Yeah, but I'm saying like it was Andy and Mika were the big back and forth for a while, and this was really, I think the funniest thing of the weekend was also in this match. Andy Murasaki, he's up on points. He's swept. And then he keeps playing Jackson Nagai back up into a wrestle up. And then he gets them both on the feet and he'll pull again and then he'll sweep again off of it. Happens a couple times in this match. Beautiful X-guard sweeps. Beautiful, like pushing high, like Spider Guard modified sweeps. Great work from Murasaki. Some great grip changes. The funniest thing in this match happened is Andy Murasaki has not a reap because his hips weren't the right position, but he's reaped through and he has a toe hold.
Yeah.
And he's he's cranking the toe hold, and Jackson the guy like kind of stops, looks at the ref and goes, and then Murasaki stops and talks to ref, and then Murasaki talks to Jackson. Jackson talks to him. Like it was very funny in this moment because the match is still going.
Yeah. And they're having a whole conversation about like where his foot is.
If the foot can be there in this position, which is traditionally seen as a reap, but because the Murasaki has Nagai's foot on the other side of it.
It's the more recent 50-50 leg lock rule.
And it's super complicated and super subjective sometimes, depending on your referee.
Yeah.
But I think it was very funny because Murasaki he doesn't keep cranking.
No.
He just holds it exactly where he has it.
Yeah.
And in a sport of savages, it is very nice to see like a gentleman like moment in the sport where Murasaki has this hold. It's fairly deep.
Yeah.
By the way, it's
pretty
not.
nasty.
It is not he's in the toe hold and he can't finish it because Jackson the guy is defending and like not quite turned enough to be able to put the toes all the way down. But he stops pressing it. You see him hold it and then talk to Jackson the guy while Jackson the guy talks to him. And I was like, this is such a funny exchange. This is happening while he has a submission on.
Yeah.
And we're discussing like gentlemanly, like, hey, is this allowed? Like, no, it's not allowed. Well, yeah, it's allowed. I cannot think of this happening
and
at another point ever in the sport.
Generally, IBJJF, you talk to the ref, you get DQ'd.
Right.
Like that's a big no.
Yeah, but you're at the Crown.
I know it's different.
It is. Yeah, it is different. But sometimes it's different depending on who you are. But being from AOJ is very helpful.
Yeah.
Atos is very helpful.
Yeah. Jackson, the guy, also was trying like the 50-50 arm bars, which I was like, at least you're trying something.
Yeah.
Like you're losing by points. You have to go for something bizarre.
But that one moment of the footlock and them like Murasaki having the footlock, not cranking it. And like them talking about the legality of the position in a finals match for potentially $200,000 is just like the humor of that is so funny. It's like in MMA when occasionally you'll see like in a championship fight, a guy will like talk to his corner. We've seen it like Peter Yan, can I knee him? Yeah. And then like illegal knees, or like you'll see something where a guy goes like, hey, can I do this thing I'm about to do in this fight? And then the corner goes, the referee goes, no, you can't do that. That's good.
When Vagner was doing BJJ Stars, he was yelling at somebody. I thought it was Cyborg in his corner, but I guess they weren't telling him the time. And he would like screaming at the sidelines, and he's like pointing at his watch, like, and like, or his wrist, like it's his watch. And then somebody yells the time, and he's like, "Thank you," and then goes back to doing what he's doing. Which I mean is kind of how I am.
I love that, dude. Yeah, you're like that as well.
I'm like that as well, but it's just the way,
It was just a very funny exchange, and it reminded me of all the times like I've never seen this before. And then thinking about all the MMA fights where this happens, or like in one championship, when they changed the soccer kick rule, because you used to have just open soccer kicks, and they changed it to like it had to be the referee had to allow because certain criteria had to be met, and so you'd have athletes about to soccer kick a guy and like go to the ref and go, "We good?" And the ref would go, "No," or the ref would go for it. And it was just it was a very funny time in one championship where there was just like weird regulatory gray area where the referee got to decide based on like certain criteria for that area if you could soccer kick, and you'd have athletes like go to soccer kick and look if they could do it. It just reminded me of this in the same way. This was a phenomenal match, like great gi play from both guys. I will go back and watch this match again because it was we only get a couple of these matches in the gi a year at this level. Yeah. This will be on our matches of the year list if we do that again this year. This was really, really good. Next one, we had Nolan Stewart defeating Adam Wardzinski by omoplata and making me sad. Yeah. Adam Wardzinski comes out of retirement to go to the Crown, but again, for $200,000, you'll do a lot of stuff. Yeah. Even if it's across all the divisions, like it's a lot of money. Wardzinski sweeps with a really classic long leg X guard sweep where he's got the leg looped in X guard with one hand, and then he basically pulls Nolan down, and then instead of traditionally what you'll do here is you'll take the back of your instep essentially, and you'll sweep behind the calf and lift up. Wardzinski does this in a really interesting way. He like stomps your leg out as he lifts you, and it makes it so instead of being like swept back, you're like pushed back, and it makes it really hard to recover. He gets up here, and then he plays really, really in tight close in Nolan's guard. Like both elbows are nice and tight. Like he wants to, but he's still playing like probably a little mid range. Because he's not fully in, but he's not fully out either. He plays the middle range, which the problem with playing the middle range is when you play the middle range, shit can happen. And especially with Nolan Stewart, known for omoplata, is like the way he pummels his legs, he just really needs him. This match kind of nails it. One good opportunity to chuck his leg inside like he's going to go to like lasso guard. And beautiful timing on it. He gets Wardzinski's arms a little open, and then he just bangs his leg through for the omoplata. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Let's see how this plays out. And
he just keeps control of the
for
lapel.
Like 2 minutes.
Yeah, but he's keeping a really good like control of the lapel, either on the far side or like underneath.
Yeah.
So that Wrzynski can't do. He can roll, but he can't. He doesn't have all the other.
He can't
shoulder
ever
kind
free
of,
the shoulder and elbow outside of the leg line. And this is two things. A master class on how to hold the omoplata.
Yeah.
Like Clark Gracie-esque in the way that Nolan Stewart is holding on. Adam Wrzynski, world champion.
Yeah.
Like holding him in a way where it's like 3 different times in the rolls, I was like, okay, Wrzynski has his arm out. He should be able to get out.
Yeah.
And Nolan Stewart can just keep it and recover it and keep the position. He changes his grips. He's not beholden to one grip.
Yeah.
Adam Wrzynski changes his defensive grips from like the belt to inside to the pants to the leg. And then eventually Nolan Stewart on like the second or third roll through, because he's letting Wrzynski roll through, but he's never letting Wrzynski clear the arm, and Nolan's just taking a different grip.
Yeah.
He's pulling Adam Wrzynski's gi behind his back. He's changing the grip.
But I think the other thing, at one point he, generally with an omoplata, you get it set as they're like in turtle beside you, and then you push your feet to the side to sit back. And I think Nolan keeps his feet forward until the very end when he turns it.
Yeah,
and
he
I don't know if
knows when he's in, and then he gives him the mobility
Yeah.
to keep the position,
because
keep
I
fighting
think
you.
because I think he doesn't go like full omoplata immediately, because I think if he would have done that, Adam could have gotten out.
Yeah, he would have pulled his eyebrow.
Yeah, but so he went almost like legs forward and kind of rode the Bronco until he could turn his legs back.
It just beautiful, because I've watched this, and there's one point in time where Wrzynski almost like does a Granby roll over Nolan Stewart's back, and Stewart takes it. He puts Wrzynski back down. It's just very common, like a guy that is an expert at this specific submission. And I went, man, I think almost everyone else would have, or not, if anyone else that is not the caliber of Nolan Stewart at this submission had this, Wrzynski would have gotten out.
Yeah.
Like, it was really special to watch the control that Stewart had here. Of like, man, Adam's really, really good, and he just cannot get this arm out. And Stewart's just like rolling with him, and eventually gets there and then finishes and like kind of comes up to finish.
Yeah.
And Wrzynski taps, and what I like this, Wrzynski obviously like verbal taps. He kind of looks to try to tap with his hand, his other hand that's free. But it's probably a verbal tap, and Stewart immediately stands up and stops. And I was like, "Oh, that was cool! Like that you had the control of that to immediately stop and stand up out of it."
And he also knew how to get out of it.
Yeah, but didn't do that dumb omoplata get out where you can't get the guy out of the move.
Yeah, where you like get stuck in it, or you like blow dude's shoulder trying to get your legs out.
Yeah, it was just a real. Again, Adam Wrzynski is one of my favorite guys, so it sucked to see him get submitted, but if you're going to get submitted, man, it was a really impressive, like, protracted. You got to see really good defensive work, and then you got to see really good submission adjustment in an omoplata, which we really only see in the gi.
Yeah.
And you got to see all the, like, the beautiful lapel work and him pulling behind. It was a really, really neat sequence to watch, and it was everything that Nolan Stewart strings everything that you've only ever done once in an omoplata. Like, oh, that was really helpful grip. All together to put Adam Wrzynski away.
Yeah.
This was a neat match. I got sad, but it was a neat match and it was cool to watch. Moving on. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Finals match. Ultra heavyweight. Eric Muniz defeats Gustavo Batista via points. Muniz, again, is on the bottom. He's going to sweep you.
Yeah.
That's the match, man.
Yeah.
He sweeps Batista. Batista can never really get back out of it. He tries.
Yeah.
Batista has a really nice calf splitter at one point, tries to wrestle up on it. Eric Muniz gets out of it, pressure's down. It's just, once Muniz gets up on points, he is so hard to deal with. His lapel work as a big guy from the bottom is so hard to deal with. He has the length and the attributes where you really can't get away from him effectively, making him so hard to deal with. Even a guy with a phenomenal guard like Gustavo Batista, like Eric Muniz just plays the lapels in a way as a big guy that is seems to be overwhelming for everyone.
Yeah, it does.
Like very few guys can contend with him in the gi because he just seems to have a game tailor-made to just creating a whole host of problems. You can't outgrip him. You're not ever usually going to be stronger than him in a way that matters. Mechanically, he gets his legs in front of you, and then he'll pull you down with a lapel. He'll loop it under your leg or his own leg, limiting the way that Gustavo Batista can pressure forward in any of his pressure passes because now the lapel is stuck underneath him.
And he does a really good job of using the gi as opposed to like just using it because it's there. He uses it to kind of tie you up in ways that you are unable to move.
He reminds me a lot of like Keenan. In the way, not quite to like the extent that Keenan went down the rabbit holes in it, but in the same way of like I'm using the gi and I've wrapped the lapels around you in a way where you really can't unravel it. You have to start changing your position because there isn't a way for you to break this grip. And because there isn't a way for you to break the grip, like under the leg grips that Eric Muniz uses here, it's like the only way Gustavo Batista can deal with this is by starting to stand up out of it. Because you just can't, there's no way for you to access the grip that he has behind you unless you stand up and force him to come up, and then you get some more hip motion. And Eric Muniz knows this, and so you stand up into essentially a sweep.
And Gustavo is a smaller gentleman.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a smaller gentleman.
No, but he's...
Than Eric Muniz.
He's like body-wise, he's not as tall as...
Yeah. Like Victor Hugo is like a taller guy.
For him to like stand up, Eric Muniz still has like a good foot on him.
Yeah, Eric Muniz still has like the length to be able to like pull up into you standing up, and basically you stand up into no additional space being gained because Muniz can kind of rise up with you while still being in the exact position that he wants.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how frustrating it is to fight Eric Muniz, but...
Muniz had 2 subs in the finals. He had one like back choke, and then he had like a Bravo choke. Yeah, which looked more like
in the quarterfinals. Yeah, or in the semis and quarters.
I think the Bravo was the quarters.
Okay,
but that was fun. He like rolled under. He did the full like he's gonna get it. He's gonna go over. He's gonna roll under you, and then you're gonna go out by the time you come back up. It was fun to see, and Batista jumped onto the back of Elder Cruz and Stanley collar choked him.
After a while.
Yeah.
Wasn't immediate, but...
Yeah, but still, he stayed up there. And he's a big man to be on top of you like that.
Yeah.
Just,
It was good.
Like a little spider monkey.
Very good. So that was ultra heavyweight. Let's move on to the women's matches. Let's talk about the finals, the lightweight final. Sarah Galval versus Jana Libre. Who has won everything this year? She won Brazil. Did I say it wrong?
No, you said who has won everything. I thought you were asking a question.
Oh no, I was making a statement.
Who?
No, Miranda, you have it in the notes here.
I know.
Very helpful.
But then I was like, I will answer your question. But okay.
Hey Miranda, who has won everything and what has she won? Jana Libre.
Yeah, has won everything. She's won Brazilios, Pants, Worlds, and Euros.
Yeah, just incredible performance. And then I was excited about this matchup because earlier in the match, earlier in the tournament, she beat Brianna St. Marie with a collar choke.
Yep.
And Cassia Mora by decision. I was like, okay, Sarah Galval is cooking.
Yeah.
And she wins against one of the best women in the world at lightweight. And I was like, we've seen Sarah Galval struggle a little bit in no-gi.
Yeah.
Not really in the gi a whole lot. And I was like, okay, you're up against the woman in the weight class. How do you do? Jana Libre goes to pull in the opening seconds of this match, and Sarah Galval hits her with an Herber Santos and does one of the best guard pass intercepts I have ever seen. Like, I don't care, women, men. The timing on this was one of the best I have ever seen.
Yeah.
It was just incredible, like frame by frame of just like, man, you didn't telegraph it. You just got, and Jana Libre shows her that she's going to pass. It's a pretty tame guard pull, so you could do something like this off of, but like not a bad guard pull. Again, you don't win Brazilios, Pans, Worlds, Euros in the same year without having a good guard pull if that's going to be your game. So everyone knows this. But the speed and the fluidity that Galval can get her and like pass off of this was really impressive.
It was.
Genuinely really impressive. She almost gets the pass.
Yeah.
Jana gets her knees back in, and so Galval gets an advantage for that. Then it's basically Sarah looking to pass, never passing. Jaina looking to sweep, never sweeping.
Yeah. She's also looking for like some attacks too. Like she is kind of going for things, but Sarah never really commits an arm or anything that she could really jump onto or attack.
So it's that one advantage in the opening seconds of the match that win it for Sarah. Again, I would have loved to see it a little more decisively, but again, you beat Brianna St. Marie earlier and Cassia Mora earlier. Like, I mean, I can't ask for everything. It was incredible that she did what she needed to do to win at the beginning, got that advantage, and then rode the advantage all the way to the end. Never had a penalty called on her. Never had a stalling, an activity. I think they had one activity call in the match, I think.
I don't remember.
But overall, just like that, I can watch the initial sequence, and then it's guard work where there's no sweep, no pass. But it was still very, very impressive. So Sarah Gavao takes the crown. Anything else on that?
Nope.
Moving on to the super heavyweight division, a finals we've seen a couple of times now. Gabby Pisana defeats Taina Porfirio via points. I was more so frustrated by this one more than anything because this is the exact same way that we have seen Gabby Pisana beat Taina Porfirio a couple of times now. And it's almost like...
Didn't Taina beat her?
She did.
Okay.
She's beat her before.
Yeah.
The problem is it seems like Gabby Pisana has figured out, like, Porfirio's game is somewhat limited in her passing.
Yeah.
And she does a double underpass. She tries double underpass, Gabby Pisana. I'm going to sneeze. Ugh. And she does the deadlift pass. But instead, so Taina Porfirio has, like, the under the skirt grip on the belt or on the pants or on the lower end of the skirt, and she will go to lift you, and then she'll drive you and crush you over.
Yeah.
And it's traditionally not the way you teach this pass. It works super effectively for Taina Porfirio, but versus Gabby Pisana, who has the flexibility, can play the guard as well as she can, Porfirio, because she just tries to kind of grind you over.
Yeah.
That doesn't work and is not working on Pisana. And we've seen her try it and try it and try it. It's worked one time. And we've seen her just not have success with the last couple of matches. I would be curious if Taina goes to like lift, if she has the strength to deadlift Pisana up, if she can have more success. But the problem is Pisana's a little quicker than Porfirio. And I think that would potentially lead to a different result in the match. But we've seen Porfirio lose this match.
She could try to like flip her. Yeah. But if she flipped her,
can Gabby roll back? But I think it introduces a different piece of the match. Porfirio is not having success passing this way anymore versus Pisana. We've seen her not have success like this for the last year. Porfirio has to sit in this low double underpass long enough where eventually Gabby Pisana can get some sort of grip on her foot. And she does, and she has, and she gets a grip on her foot. And because Porfirio is so low, as soon as Pisana can like rotate and lift Porfirio's leg up to Pisana's head, Porfirio falls over because she doesn't have a base because she's so low. Once you take out the other end of that base, she mechanically just has to fall over. Porfirio wrestles up. Porfirio routinely here cannot beat Pisana in the wrestle up and in the scramble. Pisana gets her back every time, forces her to the turtle. She grabs the low side pant leg so that Porfirio can't do traditionally what you want to do and just sit back into the guard. Yeah. Because she's sat and she's kind of played through the turtle too slowly. And then Pisana gets on her back and then gets the mount, gets the back, and then tries to put her away. Either finishes a choke, which we've seen her do once controversially, once absolutely correctly, or she ends up in mount and then forces the back kick again. This is the same match that we've seen play out the last 3 or 4 outings. Yeah, true. And it's just a little frustrating to see the match play out in the exact same way with sort of the exact same problems that Taina has had in her game in dealing with Pisana. And again, I'm talking about the problems with Porfirio's game. Credit to Pisana. She has won the matchup. She has figured out the matchup. And if you have an opponent that's not going to approach the matchup any differently, I am not in any way incentivized to not do the exact same thing that you're going to let me do. Yeah. It's like we have rounds like that in the gym where it's like, yep, this guy's going to do this. I'm going to counter it like this. And then our round is going to end up here. And I'm either going to get the sub or I'm going to win on top. Yeah. That is this matchup. And it's just, as an analyst, it's a little frustrating to watch Porfirio come into this matchup at the finals of like Worlds and like at the Crown and just repeatedly come into this matchup, not doing anything differently than what she's done.
And sometimes I wonder if it's more of a mental thing. Like you get into
this guy's gonna beat me. They're gonna be like this.
Well, you get into like a certain framework, and then you just automatically do that. Mm-hmm. Where she might know, like she might have some amazing passing, but when she goes to pass, and maybe she gets frustrated and she gets stressed out by Gabby, she reverts to the pass that she likes to do.
Yeah,
which might not be the correct pass for this position.
Yeah, there's something. To that. Probably.
I do that shit. Like I'll revert to passing on my knees because I won't want to be kicked over. Where I know that if I stood, it would be easier to pass. Like it. We all have our own demons. If you do jiu-jitsu long enough, you realize that in stressful situations, sometimes you do stupid things.
You'll watch competition footage, and you're like, yeah, I know we weren't supposed to be on our knees there. Like, we talked about it. We planned the camp around it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, yeah, my knee's right there. Yep, that's where I should have been. Yeah, it's just a little frustrating because she's so high level, and she has been a world champion. I want to see her change how she does this pass because she's just not having success doing it, and the exact same thing keeps happening. And Pisana just has her number because Porfirio's giving her the same set of things to work with.
Yeah.
And it's looked the same the last 3 outings. Credit to Porfirio, she doesn't get submitted, and I thought she was going to get submitted here with the collar choke, with the same collar choke we've seen her get hit with 2 times in a row here. Doesn't get it, but that's it. Shocker, by the way, to get to the finals, Gabby Pisana, 2 ankle locks.
Yep.
Really, this seems like the flavor of ankle lock 2 women in front of Porfirio.
Yeah.
Run a Porfirio in the finals, either get a collar choke or win on points.
Yes.
I think Pisana has won 3 tournaments this year with this exact 2 ankle locks, and then points or sub on Porfirio at the finals.
Yep.
So that was it. That was the entire weekend. Some stuff to go back and rewatch. It was fun. I will definitely go back and watch Meyram and Owen because I'm really curious. I want to look at like the more nitty gritty of that matchup.
Yeah.
And then Andy Murasaki and Jackson the Guy. Like that was by far one of my favorite matches in the gi that we've had this year. Super, super excited to kind of pull some technique out of that match as well.
Yep.
So that's all I got. Next week, we are going to have a preview of who's number 131 and
ADCC Asia and Oceania Championships.
So should be good. Miranda, got anything fun going on this week?
It's Thanksgiving this week.
Oh yeah, it is. Like 2
days. Thanksgiving things and food.
Josh is having my wife and I over. Josh's mom is having my wife and I over because my in-laws were going to come down. They decided not to, kind of last minute. And so we were training with Josh last night, and he was like, come to Mom's house. And I was like,
that sounds fun.
That sounds fun. It'd be like an hour away. So it'd be awesome, but it'll be very fun because of all the, like, Josh officiated my wedding.
Yeah.
And never met his mom. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
That'd
like,
be
I'm
fun.
very excited. He goes, yeah, it's like, take me times 4. And I'm like, ooh. It's going to be an exciting. So I'm excited for my wife and I to go out and have Thanksgiving with Josh's family.
Yeah,
so that will be fun. So I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving brunch, and I'm like preparing to deal with Josh and his family because I know that it is going to be an absolute trip.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. I'm super excited. I love Josh. That dude's phenomenal. And so I can't wait. But I'm mentally getting ready for that. So work's been kicking up this week. So I'm trying to get all that squared away. I am still editing the interviews. I mucked up the audio. So that's why no interviews from ADCC have come out yet, because we were doing it at the end of the day, and we were in a huge rush because I like to do interviews after the finals.
Yeah.
Because if you interview guys before the finals, that interview is only valid in the time between when you do it and then the finals match.
Yeah.
Like all the thoughts are different, all the takeaways are different.
Yeah.
So it's like we'd done it years ago. I did interviews before the finals, and I was like, cool. I do a day 1 interview. It isn't valid.
Yeah.
Day 2. It's like, okay, nothing he said is really valid, or she said.
And really, in all honesty, you don't really want to harass them during that time.
Exactly.
Like at least I would.
I'll talk to guys, but I want them to focus on the event that they're there to do.
Yeah.
And I am like interviewee clown guy, And I do not want to interfere with an athlete in their preparation, their timing. Like, I am there as a fan and as a spectator, and then later as an interviewer. And so I always want to be super respectful of the athletes that are there actively competing still in the tournament. And so I always like to wait until after and I'll talk to guys.
That makes sense.
I talk to John a bunch, but I don't want to interview them until after. And so the event was closing, and it is just the audio is bungled. And that's why I had to pull this last week's podcast episode. I had to pull off of the camera instead of pulling out of the recorder, because the recorder got bumped and it was all messed up. And so all the trials audio was messed up. And so it's a big forensic audio recovery for me to get these interviews out. I may honestly just end up pulling up the audio out of the camera and doing it that way, but it's that's why you haven't seen them yet. So again, apologies to all the athletes that gave me their time. I will get those out. I just have to do a lot more audio editing work than I had anticipated, which sucks. But again, I want to tell those guys stories and give them a chance to kind of talk about their camps. And they gave me some really cool stuff that I was very happy to hear about.
That's great.
But that's where it's at. So that's my week, Maura. That's what I got going on Thanksgiving week is audio editing.
Yeah.
So
I've sleep, maybe. I don't know.
That would be nice.
Training, sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's about all.
So, you good?
Yep, I'm good.
As always on the show, I'm your host, Maine. Join my co-host,
Miranda.
And we have the Grappling runs to the mat where it is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.